Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith of the In the Black VTF here at T3Live.com, and with today's market wrap-up, and bit of a snoozer. I talked about that in the morning with jobless claims coming out. We also have bank stress tests coming out tomorrow, so a bit of a snoozer as far as the broader averages and stuff like that. You can see the SPY, albeit you could call this a second hammer to try and take that out with the jobless number coming up in this big, or should I say tight range in here, and then testing the downside here, unable to really get back into this stuff. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. If you look at QQQ about the same, Doji, just stuck in that stuff. So the question is, well, how do you trade on days like today? There's a few ways that we can look at things. And so one of the things you hear me talk about, and I talked about yesterday and this morning, is that the inside bars. And so what that means is that when we're doing nothing, seemingly doing nothing and going sideways like this, what we're going to look for is an inside bar, because what that means is that finally the price has found an equilibrium, and then that would need to break. All right, and so when you look for a combination of those, on a slow day like today, here you can see today's 60 minutes. This is 60-minute SPY, and today you can see this inside 60 here. And it did come back up and counter it here, but this was about as nice as a move as you're going to get today. This inside down on the 60, which correlated with an inside 60 in the QQQ, also the Dow Jones Diamonds, all at the same time, and got that break. It also was triggered by the SPY 15 here, and this triggered the inside 60 down. So the best move of the day, albeit not much, was certainly that move there. And so what happened at the end of that was, when it recovered, you got an inside 15 bar here in the SPY. So it was either going to reconfirm that down move and break out, or at this point, this is almost the point where we're going to stay slow, because we're defining the lower end of the range, or inside and back up, and unless you can go out and take out the highs of the day, you're meandering back stuck in the range, and that's pretty much what we saw. So that's the way we would playing things, not just playing those broader averages, but using those in conjunction. So when we saw those sell signals, you can go after things that are already noticeably weak, if not just trading these vehicles themselves. But when things get slow like this, when you know that the overall market broader averages are slow, we want to look for natural buying and selling. And what that means is that there's a difference when the market's running and the futures are running, because there's futures related buying going off in stocks, as well as maybe actual real buyers. When it's slow, stocks are moving strictly upon the natural buying and selling in the name. So that's something we like to look at. But let's get back to that PCYC. PCYC was the story out on the morning, and gaps up on the buyout here. So obviously nothing to do there. But if you looked at ABBV, AbbVie, it was great. AbbVie, the acquirer here, and certainly here's your inside 15 off the highs. And if you go to the 60, say, Rob, I'm not too fast to get that 15. Or you go inside 60, and then retrace and fall apart. So that was really nice. And when I talk about the natural buyers and sellers, the IBB itself on that news gaps up and just holds up in here. And so at that point, obviously it took a lot of stocks with it. So what we wanted to do is break down who continues, and then if anybody could fail off of this, if there's any of the biotechs that are dropping off. So if you look at the ones that really went, the PBYI here, we looked at this, you can see at the end of the day an inside 60 up to the highs. It also helped to take out the inside month here. So this consolidation back and fill corrective activity then goes inside and meets that equilibrium, whether either that's going to pause and then continue, or in this case reverse and go up. And it was also happened to be off an inside day. What do you know? All right, you can also see Regeneron here had a nice day, and you have blue, and there's a whole bunch in there that stayed strong during the day, right? And if you look at the 60 here, talk about momentum hammers, and that's hammers towards the higher end of the range. So you had your shooter, hammer, counter, then back, then inside 60 to the upside with blue. ILMN was another one that stayed strong throughout the day. When I talk about the momentum hammer, you can see that here on the 60 right there. There's a few 15s that did that as well. And once again, these things hammer on the high, pow, hammer on the high, pow, hammer on the high, pow. And once again, the reason that these work is that you have people that are trying to either use a tight stop or trying to pick the top and getting short. So if your stop's too tight, stop them out and move back up. If you try to short it off in this bar or in here, Down in here, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. You figure, it's rolling over, I got it. And then it comes back up, and guess where the stops go? Right here. Pow! Oh, this time it's definitely rolling over. Want to bet? Where's your stop? Right here. Pow! Oh, this time it's definitely rolling over. Where's your stop? Here. Pow! And so, in a strong trend, we certainly look for those. If we had a loser there, then you can look and go, who's not holding up? If you go to ALKS, there's your winner on the gap, the run in reverse, the round tripper. So during the day, once you start to see this business, you just look for that inside 15er, and that continued all the way down to there. Okay, so outside of that, we did have some natural buyers. CSIQ, nice strong day, and you look for how does something like this act when the SPY does this. When the SPY does that 15 and 60 down here, how do things act? And so I'm always looking to the things that are strong when the market's weak and the things that are weak when the market's strong, because that shows me where the natural buyers and selling are occurring. We had the Kroger go back to the highs, gap and go. Talked about that this morning. That was nice too. Kroger came in. This is what we call a reversal strat, when the inside bar opens and breaks, but opens and closes back within the inside bar. That's one variation of that. Kroger, or you can look at something like CP Rail, just being bought all day, just walking up. So there's a couple nice ones there. The LinkedIn I talked about this morning closed near the high, so not too bad. It was like on a stronger tape. Maybe this hammer could have carried it further, but we got something out of that. That's not too bad. So if we take a look at for tomorrow, we have inside days really drying up of the energies. The XLE, the XOP, the OIH. Look at these things really drying up, and even crude oil in the USO is to the tick, an inside day. So a whole bunch of nothing there, but those need to break, and so we can watch a bunch of those that stayed inside day, and the OIH is always going to be Slob and Halliburton. And you got the Riggy, and you got PXD, and EOG going inside days to keep an eye on there to see if we can get anything out of this. So if you got the underlier, you got the crude oil itself, and these three ETFs, and a bunch of stocks to keep an eye on there. Once again, when you see these sectors going inside and doing a whole bunch of nothing, when you look through the components, you can see that during the day, NOV was being sold all day, and you look at Helmerich Payne. That's the difference between natural buyers and sellers in the stock when things are going theoretically nowhere on the as a sector as a whole. So if we go to stress test, we got FAS. And FAS, just like a lot of sectors and broader averages, doing a whole bunch of nothing. But it is holding into this range here, all this business in here. See if we can get out of there. So you've got your JP Morgan, which you can see is acting better than that. You can see Citicorp here. Citicorp is actually an inside month and up, and has been going towards the highs, while Bank of America coming off the lows. So the question is, are you going to be momentum and go after the strength, or are you going to try and play the catch-up with the Bank of America? Well, I guess we'll have to see how these stress tests and how things act off of that. You can also watch the KRE here and watch some of these regional banks. These regional banks on the weekly here, it's been going sideways, an inside week, and took it out to the downside. Now we're going to see if we can go reverse it and take it back to the upside. But you can see this range in here, and we'll be watching stuff like PNC and how the results come out of that stuff there. So in summation, we've got a jobless claims number in the morning. We'll see if that can shake them up a bit. Massive amount of inside days per the lack of volatility. So we want to see in that SPY, once again, I took a look at that 60 here, and I talked about the series of lower highs. Yesterday, it was this, and this. It was very steep. However, we poked up in the morning and got to here, and unfortunately, that's still within the realm of lower highs off of these here, since the gap down here, and here. So the question is, do we roll back down and keep continuing that series, or can we spike through here and make a higher high off of this, fill the gap and take a shot at that? So hopefully we find out tomorrow, but if we go inside again. But that's certainly key areas to look at. Can we take out this downtrend? And if we start going down, is this a higher low where we can go up, or are we just going to continue this series of lower highs and wipe that out? So that's what we'll be watching tomorrow. Watch that number, watch them stress tests, and I'll see you in the morning. I hope everybody had a good day and has a great night. I'm Rob Smith of the In the Black VTF here at T3 Live.